Hey everyone, I'm back once again, emerging from the depths of an unhealthy MMO obsession. My dopamine delivery device of choice this time has been the Elder Scrolls Online. Yeah, I've spent the past couple of weeks diving through and adventuring in Tamriel, and I've been enjoying the process. I've kind of took my time, I made a brand new character, tried to take it easy, enjoying a leisurely stroll through the game. There's just so much content, and it seems to have changed and improved from drastically from what I remember during the original launch, what was it, some 5 or so years ago. I mean, the game has been pretty cool. I've actually managed to get my way up to the max character level, even reaching the max gear level, and I'm just kind of going through some of the end game progression, but without putting too much pressure on grinding CP ranks and kind of doing all the crazy stuff that tends to lead to you burning out of these games pretty quickly. And I gotta say, what perfect timing for me to be diving back into the Elder Scrolls Online, as a brand new update was just revealed yesterday. I'm talking about the Dark Heart of Skyrim. This is going to be this year's new content update. We'll be headed to Skyrim to visit some well-known locations, as well as discovering new ones, and it's going to be centered around a dark gothic story about witches, vampires, and werewolves, adding a bunch of new content that is planned to be released over the course of this year in 4 major updates. And I wanted to talk a bit about it because, as some of you probably know, I really like MMOs. So let's break this down and discuss the new things coming in the Dark Heart of Skyrim. So beginning with the Harrowstorm dungeon update, which is planned for this February, it will be adding 2 new dungeons and beginning the story of the Dark Heart of Skyrim. The first dungeon, Ice Reach, will be investigating a deadly supernatural storm and fighting through a sea of ghosts. And then there's also the Unhallowed Grave dungeon, which takes place in an ancient tomb filled with grave robbers. Of course, with these new dungeons, we'll be getting some new gear sets and collectibles. So that's going to be available pretty soon in February. But then later in this upcoming May, they're adding the Greymore Chapter update, and this is kind of the big expansive stuff and probably what you're going to be most interested in. So this is where we're going to be getting the Western Skyrim zone added to the Elder Scrolls Online, and the main story quest they're saying has kind of a dark gothic vibe. We'll be attempting to stop the vampire lord from enslaving Tamriel, but it's worth noting that this isn't going to be a one-for-one copy of Skyrim. We will be exploring some well-known locations like the City of Solitude, Morthal, and the Dragonbridge, and Blackreach is going to be in this game, but much more expansive than what you saw in the Elder Scrolls V, as this is going to be this new massive subterranean zone that is said to take up nearly 40% of all of the newly added landmass. I mean, we're not just talking like a little underground area or a new dungeon delve or something like that. This is supposed to be a massive play space as part of this new update that's just going to be entirely underground, which is kind of a cool new thing for them to explore in ESO. Of course, again, there's going to be some never before seen Skyrim locations, and if you're curious as to why, it is worth noting that ESO takes place 1,000 years before the events of the Elder Scrolls V Skyrim, so things aren't going to be exactly like I mean, think about how much Earth has changed in the past 1,000 years. You know what I'm saying? Like, things change quite drastically in 1,000 years, so no, we shouldn't expect it to be exactly the same. In fact, even the fact that it's remotely the same, and that there are going to be cities that have lasted for 1,000 years, that's pretty phenomenal if you ask me. In terms of new stuff, besides locations, there's going to be a new endgame 12-player trial called Kaine's Aegis. There's a new public world events called Harrowstorms. We suspect that these will be similar to the Dolmen invasions that are already in the game, just themed more vampire-y, basically. New delves and public dungeons, of course, along with new world bosses, and again, that brand new story quest line. And with this, we're going to be getting 6 new sets of armor, new collectibles, new achievements, and they're also planning some quality of life improvements, along with a rework of the vampire skill line, which includes a brand new ultimate. So that's some of like the new locations and the new activities that we'll be doing, but there's actually going to be 2 brand new big features that are coming with this new addition to the Elder Scrolls Online. So first, we've got the Antiquities system. This is going to be a new in-game activity where you uncover lost artifacts across Tamriel. Now, it's basically a treasure discovery system, so there'll be a brand new series of mini games. We'll be using this item called the Antiquities Eye to discover and excavate items. In addition to like uncovering some new story and lore, this is also going to allow us to dig up trophies, furnishings for our home, cosmetic items, emotes, a brand new mount, but also the new gear gear type that is coming to ESO, which are called Mythic Items. Now, Mythic Items are going to be gold rarity items. That's the highest rarity in the game, but they're going to have unique properties, and you can only have one of them equipped at any time, which is tending to the fact that they're supposed to be considered these quite powerful items. They gave some examples, like you'll get increased movement speed in combat and an even greater increased movement speed outside of combat. They said there was one that will give you some magicka every time you block an incoming attack. When I hear those, I'm really not too impressed. Like, I feel like if you're saying you're adding mythic items that are gold rarity and you can only equip one of them at a time, they need to do more than increase your base movement speed. So I'm kind of really hoping that with this system, there's a lot more they haven't revealed, and they're gonna go a little bit crazier with it. Like, I'd like it to be similar to the exotics that you see in Destiny, or, you know, you can point to a lot of different loot games and RPGs that have these rare mythical level items that you can only equip one of. There should be some, I think, big changes to like the gameplay and your builds. Things that really alter up play styles would be a great direction for them to go with mythic items, because yes, it is cool if my character gets increased movement speed, but that's not quite as exciting if you were to give me an item that I could revolve an entire build around, you know what I mean? So I hope they're willing to get a little bit crazy with properties of these mythic items, but we'll have to wait and see. So those are all of the major points of the new things that are coming with the Dark Heart of Skyrim. And I will say, initially, I have seen some disappointment within the community. The two major pain points that I've been seeing come up a lot is there's no brand new class and there's no new weapon skill line. There are going to be a couple of new skill lines that are coming along with the Antiquities system, but people were hoping for a new class or a new weapon skill line. And if you don't play ESO, all of the weapons almost act like their own classes with their own passive and active attributes and their own ultimates. That's one of the cool things about the Elder Scrolls Online is every single weapon can be used by every single class, and it can really dictate like your playstyle and your build. So people seem to be hoping for something to freshen up the gameplay or to provide like a different angle. Without a new class and without a new weapon skill line, it doesn't really look like we're going to be getting that. Like, yes, we're going to get the new ultimate and the revamp to the already existing vampire skill line, and yeah, we're going to be getting mythic items, but like I said, the examples they gave, like increased movement speed and magicka on block, aren't as exciting as if they introduced a brand new class or a brand new weapon skill line. So there has been a bit of disappointment, but we're hoping that there's more to come that they haven't revealed, or that things are more interesting than what they've revealed, like what we've learned so far about the mythic items. The Harrowstorm update is again going to be launching very soon. It will actually be coming to the PTS next week if you want to try out those two new dungeons. And one of my favorite things about the reveal event, when they announced they were going to be selling the collector's edition, people lost their minds.
I know that these folks in particular, and some of our more hardcore players, were not super happy with us about something with Elsewhere, which is we decided not to do a collector's edition for Elsewhere. And they were like, dude, what the hell? Where's our collector's edition? We love the collector's edition. So we heard you, and we're doing one this time around.
God bless.
I don't look, I'll let people enjoy things, absolutely, but I wince a little bit every time I see people cheering for like $100+ versions of games. Like, we shouldn't be encouraging companies to charge us more for this stuff, but I digress. If you haven't played ESO, if you're someone like me who was just recently interested in jumping back in, there's one cool thing about this game that you should know is that there's really no concern about missing out on new content or having to slog through thousands of hours of old content before you can check stuff out. Like, if you wanted to just jump into the new Skyrim stuff that's coming with this update, if you made a level 1 character, you can immediately jump into this new content, this new zone, do all the exploration, the story stuff. You'll obviously still be locked out of like the end game activities, like the max gear level 160 champion point raids and versions of dungeons and stuff. Like, you'll be limited to that, but a vast majority of the Elder Scrolls Online can be experienced with a level 1 character, and I think that's pretty cool. And this new update update is no exception. So yeah, I've been enjoying my revisit to the ESO, probably once again to an unhealthy degree, but that's just how I am with MMOs in general. But I'm excited about this. Probably gonna curb back my playing a little bit because I've kind of got to a point that I'm pretty happy with. Again, I'm max character level, I'm max gear champion point level. I'm not max champion points, but I'm not in a rush to hit that 810 cap right now. At this point, enjoying the game leisurely, doing the activities that I enjoy doing, getting that end game champion point progression along the way, and it's been a lot of fun. When I first jumped into ESO a couple of weeks ago, I thought, hey, maybe I'll play this for a couple of days. It's turned into a couple of weeks, and I've been enjoying that whole process, so I might talk a little bit more about this game, but that's basically everything I think you need to know about the Dark Heart of Skyrim. Sounds like a pretty cool update. I know people are disappointed there's no new class or weapon skill line, but I feel like there's probably still more info to come about the 2 additional unannounced updates and hopefully cooler sounding things from these mythic items. Please make this stuff a little cooler, and I think people will be really happy. All right, well, that does it for now. I'm gonna go do my dailies in ESO and hopefully start work on another video so it doesn't take me 2 weeks to see you guys again. All right? All right, see you later.